Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Roger Rogers channel. And guys, I found something on my trip recently that is super awesome. It's a Walmart exclusive, that being the Star Wars The Black Series Tactical Ops Trooper from the 20th anniversary of Revenge of the Sith. So yeah, I just came back from a trip of mine and went inside a Walmart, just browsed in the toy area, and just by chance, I managed to find the last standing, tactical ops trooper or a 501st trooper, however you want to say it, just sitting there. So I'm really happy that I was able to get him. And as you can already tell from the packaging, this is to commemorate the 20th anniversary of one of the best Star Wars films, being Revenge of the Sith. So you get that really cool old school packaging with Obi-Wan and Anakin fighting up there with Vader's helmet, the lava in the background, and this massive bubble featuring, of course, like the figurine, the accessories, this shot of the 501st Trooper, and the title down here. And in the back, you get a description talking about the anniversary. You get a shot of the trooper right there, some warnings, but that's pretty much it on the back. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and get him out of the bubble, and we can go from there. And here he is out of the bubble, and take a closer look at the 501st Trooper, or, the Tactical Ops Trooper, however you want to say it. He looks amazing. And for him being, one of the more, sought after figures of this lineup, just because it's a army builder, I would have to say they did a fantastic job with the overall look and style of the character. But before I go too much into it, let's go ahead and start from top to bottom. Looking at the head sculpt, it looks fantastic. And just like with Cody, we recently reviewed, again, that sort of like classic cut on the clone really makes a difference. You of course get that printing in the eyes and the eyebrows, but overall you can see that it has the likeness of Temuera Morrison, so it captures everything on point and in great detail. And as far as the articulation goes, he does have a joint at the bottom of the neck as well as the top of the head, so you get plenty of rotation right there, side to side, back and forward. Checking out the torso, of course he does have this chest plate with the 501st sort of like paint job marking their sort of like division. So of course it does come in that beautiful royal blue color. You do get this nice sort of like paint job right here in the backing, things like that. Not a lot of like wear and tear, which I do kind of like. Just in case you want a more cleaner approach to this trooper, this is definitely where it's at. So I do appreciate that a lot. One thing I will point out is the chest plate is very, loose in a good way. This, allows him to rotate and swivel so that he's able to move around a lot better and not be restricted. So by doing so, you can notice right there on the lower waist, he does have that ball joint, so that's perfect. You do get some nice rotation side to side, back and forward. Looking at the arms, the arm does stick out right there, and it is able to go around really nicely. The shoulder pad is connected to the actual shoulder like joint, so you can notice it right there, especially when you like swivel. You kind of have to rotate it as well, and like you saw, he does have a butterfly joint, so that is really nice to see. I will, give props to the people there for giving this trooper pinless joints, so I'm really happy about that. And by doing so, gives it more of a realistic look, along with it moving very well, as you can see with that almost like double elbow. He has a swivel right here, as well as articulation at the wrist and at the hand. The other side as well, arm sticks out right there. It is able to go around really nicely right there. Butterfly joint, the double elbow like I mentioned before, swivel, and of course articulation at the wrist and at the hand. Checking out the waist, he does have this white belt has some pouches and things like that. And again, unfortunately, the grenade does not come out, but I will note that it does have some nice detail, those small little like blue marks on the grenade, so at least they did something with it. And now looking at the legs, he almost goes into a full-on split, as you saw right there. He is able to sit down very nicely, and the legs go back about there. And he does have a swivel right here on the thighs. And then looking at the knee joints, they go a little bit over a kneeling position, almost all the way up. But due to it, to the knee pads, and then it not being like a full-on double knee joint, it's pretty much going to go right there at the max. And then looking at the boots themselves, of course they do come in this more cleaner look, like I mentioned before. They do point down right there. They point up, and there is rocker ankles to get some good action poses. And then real quick, before we move on to the accessories, there was two things I wanted to talk about. So one of them being that, the attention to detail is very awesome of its own, but I also want to talk about the paint job in general. I like how this trooper has a much cleaner sort of like wear and tear, if that makes any sense. Because in a minute, that's the second point I want to get to, is I will be doing a side-by-side comparison, with this trooper and the archive ones. So please stick around for that. I didn't mention it at the beginning because I forgot to, but I'm pretty sure I'll put up like a little text and things like that to notify you all about that little comparison at the end of this video. And now taking a look at the accessories, he does come with his helmet. Taking a look at the helmet, of course it does have that beautiful royal blue paint job to designate him being in the 501st Legion. And again, really clean, not too crazy with that battle damage, and I kind of appreciate that. And I will be getting to that in a minute, but I believe that the helmets are slightly different compared to the archive ones. And with most of these troopers, or any type of character that has the individual helmet, you're able to just place it on just like that, and it looks really good. Up next, he comes with a large rifle. Looking at the large rifle, of course, this is their traditional sort of like long-range rifle that they use in the Clone Wars, and judging by the color scheme, it isn't a solid black. This one is more of like a gray, and it shows up very well in that lighting, so I do appreciate that. And yeah, overall, it is a nice mold, has that longer barrel, of course, the stock, and yeah, it works out great. And with the help of the articulation of this trooper, you can equip that rifle very nicely into the palms of his hands. So yeah, love the way he's able to hold on to it. Looks very stable and doesn't look wobbly at all. And last but not least, he does come with a smaller rifle. Checking out the smaller rifle, this is like the more common one that they use throughout the Clone Wars. And again, does come in that darker gray instead of the black that we're always used to. So really nice mold overall. And here he is with the other rifle. And just like with the other gun, he's able to hold onto it very nicely, not wobbly at all, and it fits like a glove. Love how he's able to hold on to this like sort of like grip right here in the front. Just overall, a really nice accessory. And now the moment you all have been waiting for. Now we're going to do a comparison between the newly, released anniversary version and comparing it with the original archive version that came out a few years ago. So yeah, here's both troopers side by side, and of course there are some noticeable differences already, but I want to go over some of the quicker changes, things like that, more so being the helmets, and we'll get to the more closer shot in a minute. But obviously you can basically see it right here that the helmets are of course a little bit slightly different, both in the shape and look. So we'll go ahead and get those closer. So now we have both troopers right here side by side. Checking out the helmets. So, of course, with the archive release, the helmet is a little bit slimmer, and that's due to the fact that this figure does not have, another head underneath or an interchangeable head at that. So, obviously, it is a little bit more realistic than the other one, but I will note, I don't know if it's just me, but I think the visor on this one reminds me a lot more of like a Clone Wars style, maybe, compared to this one. Because when I look at like the 501st in the live action scenes of like the films, this is what comes to mind. This type of helmet, not this one. This one looks more like it came out of the Clone Wars. And if we're talking about like battle damage and things like that, you can see, like, I hope you can see it. If not, I can like magnify it while editing. But there is a really big notice with, the other archive version, and that being the sort of like wear and tear I was talking about. Look at that. You can see that this trooper has seen many battles, and that's just judging by the discoloration in that helmet. Has some like skid mark, sort of like bruises and things like that going throughout the helmet. The paint job is starting to scratch off, and you can definitely tell that this trooper has seen some battles. Where, like I had already mentioned, this one, it feels like he's fresh out of the sort of like training grounds, and he's getting onto his first or second battle, so he's not too bad. But again, as far as the likeness and more realistic look, I will have to go with the archive version for that helmet. And now let's talk about the torso. Again, archive kind of wins it yet again with that more realistic touch. You can definitely see the battle damage, obviously, more markings and more wear and tear to that paint job, which I do like. But then there's a catch. The articulation on the archive one isn't too bad. I'll give it that. But that's what the anniversary one does. I think the articulation right here in the main torso is a lot better, and that's just because it is a much looser plastic that they use for that chest plate, where the other one does not. It is hard. It's not too bad, but you can see that it's not as wide as the other one. May look the same, but yeah, I'm not even like, I'm going to the max right here with the movements. So as you can see, there's a full rotation. Let's do it again with the archive so you guys get a better look. But yeah, so again, archive might be the winner here, but we'll just go through some of the other changes real quick. Going off of the next topic would have to be the joints right here, both arms and legs. Now, more notably, this one will go to the anniversary one, being that surprisingly, even though the archive does have double joints right here, both on the arms and legs, the articulation is limited. And you can basically see that right there, that this is at maximum sort of like, I don't know what you call that, like the bend, I guess, for that joint. So that's as far as it can go up. It can't go any higher than that, and that's due to the fact that the shoulder pad is solid plastic. And for the anniversary release, there is no double joint, but the shoulder pad is made of a looser plastic, and yet look at that. You get a really nice sort of like grip onto that blaster. It may be a small, sort of like detail, but to me, it really does make the difference. Even though they are able to hold onto that rifle very nicely into the palm of their hands. Again, it is the look of the figure and sort of like the articulation that do make the figure worthwhile and worth collecting. So I will give it to the anniversary release for it having better sort of like joints right there, especially in the elbows. The knee joints, it does look almost the same Let's see, I'll try and like even it out. Let's see, maybe I can do like side by side or something like that. But yeah, it goes a little bit farther. But yeah, I will give the joint sort of like round to the anniversary release. So as an overview of the figure, I gotta say, for it being, part of the Walmart exclusive, anniversary release of this time, the 501st or Tactical Ops Trooper, however you want to say it, is definitely worth the pickup for many reasons. More notably, it is an army builder, so you can create, massive scenes with, depending on how many figures you purchase. This is my only, Tactical Ops Trooper right here, but the rest of them in the background are from the archive wave. Still, even though there was a lot less, pros for the anniversary release, besides, the look or things like that, I will say for what it is, it's not that bad. I would have done, instead of maybe doing, just the plain sort of like 501st Trooper, I know it is, one of the more popular legions. It would have been nice if they had just done a complete wave of the other legions. But yeah, I love the figure, love the style. The articulation is the winner for him, and the accessories are really nice. They go along very well, like the helmet. Even though it is a little bit more thicker, I don't mind. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. It was really fun making it because I was anticipating trying to find this character, and I finally did. So if you guys enjoyed it as much as I did making it, please be sure to subscribe because you don't want to miss out. I occasionally, make videos every weekend. Like the video in case you did, and also be sure to follow me on Instagram. I occasionally post from time to time. And with that said, I'll leave it here, and I'll catch you all on the next one.